Coast MP has said that...
you're very quiet.
The Central Coast MP has said that the Central Coast won't be coming out of lockdown because, in part, 150 people from the Central Coast went to that protest on the weekend. One, is that correct? And two, what is the message for the people who are planning to go to this weekend's one in that case? Are you going to ruin it for everybody?
First of all, I can't comment on the numbers of people who went from the Central Coast. I don't know the answer to that. But if there were people who went from the Central Coast, that is not helpful to keeping the local community safe. What I would say more broadly to people who think it's all right to protest smack bang in the middle of a 1 in 100 year pandemic, you are letting yourselves down, but my heavens, you're letting the community down big time. Just back off and let us do our job. Sorry, can I just do Sarah first?
Or the idea of a travelling vaccination clinic that could pop town to town, utilise town halls, that sort of thing.
Can I say we've got over 100 outreach facilities across the state, including in some of the very remote parts of New South Wales, and we continue to look at what else might be needed. The health team literally are working 18, 20 hours a day looking at all those options. So if they, working with the local community, determine that's necessary, of course it will happen. Sorry.
Can I just ask you about vaccine supplies? Oh,
yes.
And Pfizer. Is there any risk that New South Wales will run out of Pfizer, or have we got enough now? And is there enough in the pipeline that you're confident of getting?
We need more Pfizer. Right now, we need more Pfizer. And the reality is, I think, as I said before, the federal government did their very best, I believe, to try and get contracts for vaccines when, after all, we didn't know, no one knew whether we'd even have vaccines. As I've said many times before, the coronavirus and the various forms that we now have never had a vaccine until this last literally 8 or 9 months. So a lot of scientists, medical researchers came together and fortuitously gave the world a series of vaccines. The federal government did their best, I believe, to try and get the vaccine contracts, but certainly we would have liked, and I remain very much, would have liked a lot more vaccine, particularly Pfizer, to be available. But I guess that's for the benefit of hindsight. We've got a lot of AstraZeneca, and people need to understand that we're right smack bang now in the middle of a major issue here in Sydney, and people who are eligible, and that is anybody over the age of 18, should go and get some advice and take the AstraZeneca. I had the AstraZeneca, Premier had the AstraZeneca, the Chief Health Officer had the AstraZeneca. Go and get vaccinated. Vaccine is certainly a major step in getting us out of the current issues that we're facing. And I think, look, it's not just...
Could we run out?
Sorry.
That's what I'm just asking.
Well, look,
can we run out of Pfizer by a certain
sorry,
date?
can I just say, I think that's a bit over-dramatic, but in the sense that the federal government has told us we're going to get a certain amount over the next few weeks. But I'd like more right now. The government would like a lot more right now. We had to make a really difficult decision earlier on about whether or not New South Wales would step up, for example, to do a lot to support the federal government in aged care, disability and so on, people with disabilities, and also more broadly. And so the state government has set up mass vaccination hubs that would never have been envisaged previously. And that's a lot of time, a lot of money, a lot of effort by a lot of health workers. And we had to do that not knowing, not being guaranteed that we would get the vaccines to actually use those facilities to their maximum capacity. And the alternative would have been to have had no facilities when the vaccine, if it did ever come in great numbers. So we made a decision in our government that we would take that extra step, the precautionary step, have the facilities set up, and we've done it. And I want to thank the staff who did it. They've done an amazing job. But now we're entirely dependent on the federal government's supplies of the Pfizer vaccine. And I have to say at the moment, we know for a fact that we will not have enough Pfizer in the next few weeks to be able to do what we really could do in those hubs.